NPC is for that purpose. We need to continue the culture. I want to start from there, and then I want to say, I want to agree in some measure that the development budget needs to be meaningful and purpose in its impact for service delivery through capital projects, jobs, facilities, service. All of these are the embodiment of what the development budget is supposed to be doing, and it is so properly attached to that line mandate. At taking up the role as the DG, I spent 3 months in the field, and I went to every region except Commerce, and didn't actually visit every constituency, but very close to that. And I wrote my own notes. I can identify with some of your statements, Graham, that in part, and because of own goals between primarily the beneficiaries of these contracts in executing government projects, a lot has gone no more than window height in some of the key projects. Therefore, your characterization that we shouldn't just create wide elephants, but we also have compiled a full report accounting for what has the development budget actually delivered in the last 30 years. We have that report. We're actually on the 30th celebration of Namibia's independence. We launched that report to the public. It's available. We can also, in a large measure, show you, IPPR, that much of that trajectory of capital investment has gone to benefit in the country. I acknowledge the wide elephants here and there, but by and large, the impact is in a report that you can have access to, and you can take it from there. Going forward, it still is a challenge in the last couple of years that the development budget's capitalization has actually gone down significantly, all on account of a weaker economy and output at GDP level. That's understandable. Yet, having said that, we continue to try and prop it up, and we continue to make it or make the stakeholder ministries who actually implement the projects, that for us to be able to be effective, these, that, and the other are the suggestions we've brought there. The field engagement have by and large delivered suggestions, and part of the effort you see the Minister of Finance is undergoing to have wider public consultations into the regions is to try and change the culture back then where a budget will be reaching the regions by the end of July. That is a direct consequence of having gone to the people and looked at that and consulted from settlement, village, region, national, which is the planning framework. That we continue to work that. It's not perfect. We're not absconding from responsibility, but we continue to do that, and we continue to welcome criticism, suggestions, whichever way. That's why we at NPC have joined in this discussion. So much for that. I want to join Madame Hendrina, you said is your name, if I'm correct. I share with your pain. I am just as emotional as you are, because I have seen these things on my scouting in the regions, and especially so when years and lack of rain are this profound. People go hungry. We just had that debate in cabinet. Cabinet admitted with the drought assessment, people will be going hungry. Send out teams, look at why people are hungry. Maybe the question or the suggestion we should put forward, where in our system are people falling between the cracks, and not to find that out from you necessarily, because you may not know how the system works. So it's more ourselves at administrative level to try and interrogate where that work falls astray. I want to say that. We at the NPC have submitted or actually carried out 2 reports. Cost of hunger, and the other one is malnutrition. Food nutrition. Yeah, those were the 2 reports. The findings of which is, if you have suffered malnutrition at that level and since that age, it actually doesn't leave you. It persists with you. And it has a cost to the economy. So this is a very important point you are making. And the executive insists with this. Like I say, the cost to the economy, he has seen the figures. It's not just some child play. It is astronomical. And it is something that government, while seized with it, needs to deal with it in a manner speedily, decisive, and abating of the problem. And I want to share with you that those of us that do the research around these issues at National Planning Commission, you often gets given a pushback when you read that lack of certain foodstuffs in your daily diet actually persists with you because your body strength has never had it, and you can't actually exercise your body strength in the same manner as somebody who's been exposed to correct, appropriate foodstuffs in their intake daily. So I want to emphasize the point you are making, and I really do share in the manner you express yourself. So I have jumped the list of questions. I want to go back to my friend in the informal sector with your so characterized formal questions. You made a statement around green hydrogen and scholarships. On the 21st of this month, we will be holding a town hall. 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, in the various sectors of the capital. And we send out those invitations to members. Please come along and let us give you the full scope of what green hydrogen is about. And just as a way to show, believe you me, that government does take the industrialization and new engines of growth very, very serious. And this is on the back of having unpacked the economy between myself, Ministry of Finance, Bank of Namibia, and Ministry of Industrialization and Trade, and 8 other work streams of the totality of government representation and the private sector. And we've submitted several reports. We can spend hours and days talking to those. And they were particularly pertinent in the sense that we went to what in the setup of our economic makeup has actually kept growth in abeyance and for so long. So these reports are available to the public. You can access them and read them. So between myself and him and my colleague Minister of Finance. And this is where green hydrogen from the Harambee Prosperity Plan, that's where it came from. And the emphasis of the president back then is, this is one of the future job-creating industries. One of the industrialization policies we need to adopt because of climate change, the fact that we suffer persistent drought periods, it's because the climate is being damaged by human activity. And we, who are not the exact causal effects of greenhouse, the carbon effect in the atmosphere, Southern Africa collectively does less than 0.5% damage or emission to the environment. If we don't take that initiative, we already suffer from drought back to back with bumper rainy seasons, floods, often in the same period as maybe drought. So we needed to take that policy initiative. So I share with you in the scholarships part of the clean hydrogen. This is not government money we spend. Not that it justifies whatever the wrongs we've done. We've actually outsourced that part of the work to the private institutions with government expertise. We policymakers were told strictly, stay away from these things so you do not become compromised. So, yes, His Excellency the President has admitted this cannot be tolerated. And therefore, we will speak to you on the findings when we have the hearings next week or the week after next. So please take along and let's talk through. At the same time, the Minister of Finance spoke about the resources envelope of the country. Yes, indeed. Irrespective of the quality, the amounts, the volumes, and so on, shareholding in a majority sector, and especially where the government has no abilities, capacities to actually be at the head of these resources and mine them in a nationalized sense, does not always speak to, and I'm going to be very controversial here. You can like it, dislike it, it's my opinion. Majority shareholding is not alone and totally unequivocally held in the form of I am 51% shareholder. You may be completely just the beneficiary of the tax regime in the oil and gas business, the diamond business, and much of that, if you agglomerate the totality of the government take, it may exceed between 55 and 65%. So, yes, I'm being reminded here, and we've come here to engage in the serious sense. Time, yes, I mind that. So, majority shareholding, please do include the fact that government takes mostly the largest share of such activities. Combine that with whatever form of shareholding. Let us, in our emotive debate, consider that. Lastly, on that issue, it's a generation later after the many efforts of exploration, much of which those holes have delivered nothing else except chips of rocks and dusts. The billions are gone, until much recently when we have discovered. So, policy change has to protect the future for the longest, which we have depended on investors. That array of group of people with money that risk it down holes and up the mountains and valleys, and now the sun, the wind, and the water. And I plead, can you protect these? Not to say we cannot, but we, the government and its people, must approach the change in policy and how we go about it, considering how far we got without putting a cent in what we got, and maturely mimic examples of other important lessons in the world, just so that we don't abruptly disturb and destroy what we have. That relationship would continually play an important role going forward. It is the time, in my view, to start maturely beginning to probe that environment in lieu for change, so that the majority Namibians begin to enjoy more benefits, begin to enjoy more management, but to be abrupt, emotive, without care, we may find ourselves on the wrong side of the divide. It's just a caution. So I leave that one at that. And what else do I have to say?